Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel. I'm Bobby Vincent, who works for football.london as a Chelsea reporter. I've decided to start a new YouTube channel purely to try and interact more with you guys, my followers, and also to do with the fact that Twitter seems to be going down a pan at the moment. As many of you will be aware, I'm just trying to sort of branch out to different social media platforms. I thought YouTube is a natural next step for me. Over the course of the foreseeable future, hopefully, I'll be speaking to you obviously about Chelsea, anything to do with the club, really, whether that's transfer news, what's happening on the pitch, injury news, any sort of information I can get from behind the scenes at the club. And yeah, I will be trying to interact as much as possible with you guys. So, obviously, as a new channel, it would be great if you could like the video and subscribe. That would really help show some support. And yeah, if feel free to comment on anything you have, any questions you may have regarding what I say in today's video. Genuinely anything, like if it's to do with Chelsea, I'll make sure I reply to every single one of them. So yeah, today, without any further ado, we'll be talking about just like a general roundup of today, which is Wednesday, the 5th of July. And, it's been another busy day for Chelsea. One done deal, a few others that are in the pipeline, whether that's incomings or outgoings. And yeah, I'll just be doing a little roundup of that, so stay tuned. So yeah, there's only one place to start, and that is, of course, Mason Mount, who has officially left Chelsea. He has joined Manchester United. And I know for a lot of Chelsea fans, seeing him in the Man United shirt, no matter how inevitable it was and has been for weeks, it must have hurt a bit. He put up a video last night where he took to Instagram and posted an emotional statement to, say goodbye to the Chelsea fans, say thank you for 18 years of service, essentially. He's been playing for the club ever since he was a 6-year-old boy, so it's emotional for him, and I know full well that it hasn't been an easy decision for him. There's been absolutely loads going on behind the scenes at Chelsea to try and get the deal done. Look, Chelsea and Mount felt as if an agreement was close before last year's World Cup, which took place in November in Qatar. Um, there were a few issues. A lot of it's to do with imaging rights. The amount of money Mount takes in himself from doing um, sponsorship stuff, whether that's with Pepsi or Shaw, for example. Um, and yeah, there was issues to do with that in the contract, and they finally sort of got ironed out. Todd Bowley and Bedad Egbali held a lot of meetings with Mount and his representatives, and they seemed to be ironed out. But then he went off to the World Cup, and it was, of course, his first World Cup with England, so absolutely he wanted to focus purely on that and, help his country as much as possible. By the time he got back, which is, like late December, early January, the offer had been taken off the table, and that, by all accounts, confused Mount and his camp, rather disappointed them. There's a new look sort of recruitment team in place, with the likes of Joe Shields, Paul Winstanley, etc. And perhaps they were trying to do things differently, and that's why the deal was off the table. But that, obviously confused Mount and his representatives. So then on to February, and this was a big month in terms of the transfer saga, as we can call it now. Chelsea offered Mount a 1-year extension, which would see his salary increase dramatically, and I believe it was more than £200,000 a week being offered to him. But that was never really the issue, as far as I'm aware. With Mason Mount, it wasn't purely to do with money. There was a lot of it was to do with the way the deal was structured. He wanted to feel respected by the club in whatever way. It's a personal thing how he feels respected. So they quickly turned down the 1-year extension, and look, we're 5 months on from that now, and that was the last offer Chelsea made for Mount, essentially. And the rest is history. He's now a Manchester United player. After months and months of speculation, negotiations, Chelsea and Mount, their relationship did worsen, unfortunately, and a lot has been said about it and whether or not, he's betrayed Chelsea or Chelsea could have done more. But at the end of the day, he's moved on now. And yeah, we all know Chelsea have lost big players before, and to Premier League rivals as well. So it is just about backing the boys that Mauricio Pochettino fields for the opening day of the season against Liverpool in a couple of months' time, and no player is bigger than the club, and all Chelsea fans be aware of it. On to another possible outgoing, and Christian Pulisic, who wants to leave Chelsea. Last week he had an offer from Lyon, who were very keen to take him on a permanent deal. They offered good money to Chelsea, around the region of £20 million, I believe. But Pulisic is adamant that he wants to play Champions League football next season. He feels like he belongs in the European elite competition. Lyon can't offer him that. I think they finished 7th in Liga last season, and they can't offer him Champions League football. So AC Milan remain interested, as far as I'm aware. They had an offer turned down last week by Chelsea, but they might be coming back for another offer, I was told yesterday, which was Tuesday. So that's one to definitely keep an eye on. Chelsea open to selling the American. He wants to leave. Chelsea more than happy for him to leave, and with a year left in his contract, they're just trying to get as much money as possible for him. On to some news I broke yesterday, last night. Trevoh Chalobah is open to leaving Chelsea this summer. He wants to be part of the Euro squad next season for England, and at the moment that does seem unlikely, of course, because he's yet to be capped by his country. But if he can get first team football elsewhere next season, then who knows, if he impresses, then he might catch the eye of Gareth Southgate. That does look unlikely at Chelsea, especially because Mauricio Pochettino wants sort of a group of 4 centre backs to choose from, and it's a real there's some really good players there, so it's a real competition for Chalobah to get in there. We got Thiago Silva, who of course is brilliant and has been probably Chelsea's most consistent defender since he signed for the club 3 years ago. You got the returning Levi Colwill, who needs to talk to Pochettino about first team football and whether or not, what his role is essentially next season, because there are clubs interested in him. Liverpool, news I broke today, Liverpool have inquired about him once again, but Chelsea's stance has remained the same. He is not for sale, but he's definitely one who is likely to have an important role next season. So that's another blow for Chalobah with the return of Colwill. And you've obviously got Wesley Fofana, who had an injury sort of riddled season, but when he did play and got a run a game together, he did show why Chelsea rate him so highly and paid good money for him last summer. And of course Benoit Badiashile, who perhaps is the most surprising out of all 4, because he was signed in January to with an eye for the future, being 21 when he signed. But he sort of got a run in the side under Graham Potter and then Frank Lampard, and he was incredible, and he's very, very highly rated by Chelsea fans now. And at such a young age, there's so much for him to learn and develop at Chelsea. So there's 4 really strong centre back options there for different reasons, and unfortunately for Chalobah, who has done a great job by all accounts at Chelsea, providing solid cover, whether that's at centre back or right back. Can of course play in defensive midfield as well. Unfortunately for him, it just doesn't look like Chelsea is the option for him to get that run of first team games. So there is a big chance he could leave this summer. Inter Milan have a long-standing interest in Chalobah. There were talks recently last month, and nothing's really progressed from those talks. There was talk of a loan with an obligation to buy, and Chelsea were trying to insert a buyback clause because they do rate Chalobah still, and if he was to go, then they'd want to cover their backs almost from the financial point of view. But look, Chelsea are open to selling him, but if they can't find a solution for Trevoh, then they are more than happy to keep him around, and I think the feeling's mutual as well. So there's not going to be an active push from Chalobah. He's training at Cobham. He's returned this week. He's obviously met Pochettino and his backroom staff now. So if there hasn't already, there needs to be a conversation with the new manager, about what his role in the squad would be next season, because otherwise, it could be another Cobham graduate who leaves Chelsea this summer. Talks remain ongoing with Moises Caicedo from Brighton. Chelsea and Brighton have been speaking over the last few days about a possible deal for the midfielder. He's Chelsea's number 1 priority in terms of a central midfielder this summer, and there is a confidence from Chelsea that a deal can be done, that they are willing to pay the sort of money Brighton are asking for, although they would rather do it in add-ons, bonuses, and multiple installments, etc., rather than pay just the 80 million straight up. And that's, that could be the stumbling block, because Brighton are great negotiators. They've proven to be really, really shrewd with their business over the last 3 or 4 seasons in terms of selling their star players. So there needs to be an agreement, a compromise between the two clubs, and this could be one that does take the lot of the transfer window. It doesn't strike me as a deal that's going to be done quickly, but just to let you guys know, talks are ongoing. The player wants to move. He's verbally agreed, at least. Nothing has been signed yet, but he's verbally agreed to join Chelsea on the terms they proposed to him. So yeah, things are going quite well at the moment. Like, there's nothing major to break on that, but talks are ongoing with Chelsea and Moises Caicedo. Last but not least, Chelsea are interested in signing Rayan Cherki from Lyon. At 19, he's a very young, exciting talent, an attacking midfielder who can play sort of anywhere in the front line, but has predominantly been used as a number 10 for Lyon. He is someone who is viewed as the club as a very exciting talent and someone who could potentially develop into a world-class player. And that's why Chelsea like him. They watched him several times last season when actually tracking Malo Gusto, who will join up with his Chelsea teammates very soon after signing in January from Lyon. So the Chelsea scouts went to watch him and sort of track and um, look at his development. And obviously Cherki caught the eye, so that's the sort of thing that happens with football scouts. They go out and watch a game for one player, but there's 22 players on the pitch, so one of the other 21 or two of the other 21 are likely to catch their eye at one point in the game. And that obviously has happened with Cherki. Nothing is advanced as far as a deal is concerned. Chelsea are just simply interested. I believe there was a mention of his name when the Christian Pulisic talks, as I mentioned earlier, happened last week. But yeah, nothing advanced yet, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on. He very much fits the bill in terms of the club's project 2030, that vision of signing young players, young up and coming players who want to prove themselves. And yeah, Cherki's definitely one that Chelsea fans seem to be excited for. So I will definitely be trying to keep an eye out for what I can hear. Right, I think we'll wrap things up there, guys. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you're still here at this point, I'm hoping to try and make this a regular thing. I will be promoting it on my different social medias. So if you keep an eye out on them, you'll be seeing these videos. But in the meantime, if you could subscribe, that would be absolutely amazing. And if you could like the video, comment on literally anything. If you want to ask me anything, whether it's to do with football, general life, or Chelsea, of course, then please do ask me in the comments, and I will reply to every single one of them. So until next time, guys, take care, and I will see you then. Goodbye.